Like it's just
Heard.
like I didn't get eaten alive, but I was like, and I was kind of glad I didn't take that job for that. Just wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm. Where did Ned go?
I forget. He went to Austin and opened Foreign and Domestic.
Okay.
You've heard of that spot, right?
I've heard of the spot,
so
yes.
He opened that. And then he started Indie Chef's Week out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's was his thing.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha.
He's to this day one of the most... His food was just so creative.
Yeah.
So creative. His
Damn.
food was so good. He's fucking nuts. And I appreciated that, too. Needless to say, the corporate restaurant group environment didn't mesh too well. But
I bet. Or you get...
And we actually didn't talk for a long time and connected at a food festival a while back, and it was really cool to see.
Oh, cool.
I always thought cooking was like skateboarding. Like you just... It's not as tight, but it's like there's just a...
It's a camaraderie there.
Camaraderie.
Yeah.
Like, I know what you do. I know how hard you work.
Especially when you're, like, all cooks. Like, when you're cooks, you know, it's like you versus the sous versus chef. Like, let's fucking dial our shit in. You want to study the menu? Let's, shit like that. That was always the best part.
I spent 6 months pre-opening in an office with that guy, planning all the menus.
Okay.
Like, they paid me way too much. I went and cooked in Chicago for this job.
Yeah.
That job, and I blew him away, and I threw a number at him that I just... My mom was like, you asked for way more than you want, and they were like, yeah. And I was like, fuck, okay, I'll take it. And it was like way too much money. I got a nice car, didn't you? I got a condo apartment in the Pearl District in Portland. When I moved in there, it was unaffordable then. It's like imagine living there now. Like
that $1.2 million.
I was like 20. I was like 25, making 80 grand.
You were slaying it.
Yeah, but I didn't save any money.
Yeah,
but so they brought in a chef to be the exec chef of Urban Farm and the kind of hotel, and so then I was gonna be his exec CEO, and I was like, cool, a guy I can learn from.
Yeah.
And what happened? We opened right about that time, like 6 months later. We opened Departure, the Japanese restaurant on the roof.
Yeah.
Not with Greg. I mixed that up. Not with Gourdet. It was with another chef who did really good food and didn't last very long. He lasted like a month and a half.
Why?
He couldn't get along. He was like from Brooklyn. He couldn't get along with him. He had this weird... He didn't write down any recipes. It was very much like, my recipes are mine. And the restaurant was just like, well, if you fucking walk on us, we're fucked.
Yeah.
And also, nobody knows how to make it.
Yeah, it's like, dude, we need Fred to make that dressing.
It was bizarre, and finally, like, I had to go get him and fire him. I was just like never talked to him since. I'm sure he hates... I mean,
was that the first time you had to...
It was just like they told you had to do this, and you took the job, and then you didn't do it. It was just like, why?
Was that the first time you had to fire someone?
No, I think I had to fire people in Chicago.
Got you.
Yeah, I had to fire...
Did you get really good at firing
that first sous chef in Walla Walla job.
Yeah.
You know, I was an apprentice.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He made me fire my first person. It's never fun. It always sucks.
No.
It never gets easier.
Especially when you know that person. Like, man, this guy's got kids. His wife knows me.
My exec sous had to fire his first guy when I was in France, when I was gone.
Oh!
And we're already down somebody when we're So, but you got it. It's just part of it.
Nowadays, it's like you got to have another manager with you. It's got to be recorded. Like, it's not like back...
But we don't... If somebody can't do the job here, we just let them go.
Okay.
And I heard a chef say that years ago, and I remembered not being able to let that sous chef go in Chicago.
It's just a cancer, bro. You got to cut it out.
It costs your business money.
Yeah, 100%.
It's cancer to the employees.
Mm-hmm.
They make other employees get negative, but also like if they can't do their job and cook good food out, or if it's a server who's rude to guests, like it just doesn't work.
Yeah, get the fuck out. Yeah,
none of it. Keeping people to document them 3 times over 6 months when they can't do a job.
Yeah,
like, what's the point?
It's also.
It's not trying to cutthroat, but it's not like...
It's not the worst thing in the world to get fired.
It's best for the team. It's best for the business. It's best for that person, too.
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with 12 people, like multiple people, not just this one person. If that one person is making it difficult, then you got to go. But also getting fired isn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
No. So it's like, it's what you do from there that dictates who the fuck you're going to be. You know, I've never been fired, but I've heard from chefs that have been fired. It's like, what did you do after that? Obviously, you're fucking depressed for 2 weeks. You drink, probably break up with your girlfriend or something. You know, go do some horrible shit for like 3 days, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, where do I want to work now? You know, and it's not like if any other chef calls you, you're going to be like, fuck that guy. You know, you're going to be straight up with him. He's got some issues, but I'd give him a chance. Yeah. Done. You know.
So they let the chef. We fire the chef up there, and I go up, and so the chef and me at that time, we go up, and we got to learn how to make all this food. There's no fucking recipes, so we're literally, and the food is so good.
You're just scratch making it.
No, we're literally like there's, and he did. So he worked in Tokyo for years at a yakitori spot and a sushi spot, and he worked at Nobu for years. He was a career changer. He's super. His food was so good. I just didn't agree with him. He was so protective of his recipes, and I'm like,
I bet
anybody can have any of my recipes. You can't go do what I do.
Yeah, they're not.
The finesse isn't there. The quality isn't there.
Exactly.
The style isn't there.
Yeah.
So, and I thought his food was good enough where I just didn't understand why he did that.
That's what I think makes a better chef is when
I tried
you're
to
like.
tell him that too when the corporate chef was trying to get the recipe. He
Yeah.
wouldn't listen to me. I don't know. But and we're sitting there. I just remember
It's that conversation
we
like
go grab the only quart
yeah.
of this like yuzu sauce that you dip the chicken skewer in. Everything was done so well there too. Like I've never the care and the dim sum production of the dumplings we did there, and the how we cut the skirt steak and put it on the skewers for it was so precise. It was so proper. The sushi was like Japanese style, not American style at all. I learned so much there. It influences my food so much to this day, as does like the Chinese food at the Peninsula.
Mm-hmm.
But we're sitting there with a quart of the yuzu sauce for the chicken, and we're tasting it, and we try to make it. And if we couldn't make something good enough, we'd just take it off or change the recipe. But it was like literally, you're like tasting the sauce, and you're like, "This is yuzu. We know it has that chili. I know it has tobanjan in it. I know we can taste ginger like crazy." And we recreated. I mean, this couple sous chefs, the sous chefs there, the sushi guy and the sous chef knew half the stuff, and we just met in the middle, and like it was crazy. We pulled this restaurant.
Let's
together,
taste and make it real quick. That's
and,
dope. That's dope.
And then we were just trying to find a chef.
Yeah. Because you're like, not me.
This guy's got to go back. Like, he's got to run our farmer. Meanwhile, my boy is just running that bank. I don't have to do anything in there. He's just rocking that
crushing
shit out. So I'm in departure for months, just doing it. And we go on a search, and we have all these chefs come in to do tastings, and we hire Gregory Gourdet, who's just
he's a beast.
He's a beast.
Yeah,
he's such a good cook.
You know what's crazy? Like, I don't know this guy. He knows a buddy of mine, and my buddy texts me, and he's like, "Hey, Gregory Gourdet would like to be on your podcast." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" Like he knows that this is just some podcast, right? It's not like I'm not David Chang, like, yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, but he would like to be on it." I'm like,
"Got to do it."
I'm so good. I'm gonna hit him up for sure. So Gregory, if you're listening,
tell him I said what's up.
I will for sure. I'm sure he'll see when I put this out. When I do the Instagram post, he'll see it. I'm sure.
His restaurant, like the connection of seeing him go to the Beard House and cook Haitian food with his mother, and then open this restaurant embracing that food is called. Like, it's just, to me, it's so special.
Yeah. I felt like he was always himself throughout his entire career, never had to, when you work in Michelin, it's like, well, I got to be in this little box, but he was just like, I'm doing it my way.
That banana at sit down. looks so good. I haven't made it yet, but I want to. It looks so good.
I got to get his books.
Yeah.
I got to get his books.
Yeah.
It's just hard when you're traveling in a Camaro. It's like, where the fuck am I going to...
He's fun. He's good. So he came on and he took over, and we really rustled it up from this very traditional Japanese that had a little Korean influence to, he was with Spice Market with John George. I think Spice Market. He had all that like Vietnamese and Thai cooking coming in.
Yeah.
Like Chinese stuff coming in more, and like just rustled it. And then he was so like market driven. We were at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it was like all the vegetables came from Truro, from Japan, and then you could. And it's like Greg was like, now we're going to go get that shit that's at the Green City Market 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
We already go there for Urban Farmer. I mean, Urban Farmer had all the farmers on the lot. So it was like, as that went into it just got so good. I learned so much with those guys. And I learned shit the hard way too. Like when I said, when I was trying to manage these guys in Urban Farmer, when I took that, it was really hard, and it was more, there's clashing personalities. And like,
Yeah.
But you grow from all that
Yeah.
stuff. So
Exactly.
I was just so there. I was like, okay, I'm fucking done with hotels. This restaurant group thing got me so excited.
Mm-hmm.
I started out wanting to be in restaurants. I got in this direction. You know, you go through all these, and I'm like, that was when I was like, I'm gonna find. I was like, I want to do tasting menus. I knew it. I was like, I want to go for fine dining. I want to do that. And I already had, from the guys I worked with in Chicago, I had that finesse with plating and like the creativity had come now.
Yeah.
Because I was doing this super modern vegetable focused thing in this restaurant we opened. All of this Japanese and like now learning all of these like other Asian influences with gourmet. And I sucked it all up at the peninsula. I missed that part. I used to stage. I used to work my day off when I was garde manger chef in Shanghai Terrace at a Chinese restaurant. And I'd run the pass to the chef to be in the kitchen because he was always short. And I just, you're selling that food. You're just sucked into, and then you go hang out in the dim sum kitchen and be like, how do you, and they did, it wasn't always traditional. They did like foie gras dumplings and stuff like that. It was cool. But I just got to learn all that shit. It was so cool. And I love Chinese food. I haven't been and I want to go to China.
Oh, yeah.
So bad. But, so, yeah, I'm in Portland and I'm like, I want to do taste. I want to do fine dining. I want to do tasting menus.
Yeah. And Portland at that time was not the place for that, no?
No. The food was very rustic.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, we do rustic Pacific Northwest food. And honestly, the technique was, they were like the big dogs in that town. Like, I just didn't think anything was very refined. It wasn't very, like, it wasn't very technique driven.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think it was like really like honoring the produce and the product in most places either. Like all these guys were making charcuterie and it was just not good. Like you just get dry sausage and like, I don't know. Like, it was hard. It's crazy to see where Portland's coming. I think when I left, I think Matt Leitner just come in at Castagna, and I think that was the first like real deal thing that was really going on. And it took off once I left. But so I was just on this search of like how, and I had lots of connect with headhunters that went into like hotels and restaurants. I was like, how do I do that? And somebody was like, I can't remember who it was, but somebody hooked me up with Bruno Davian. He was the chef. He'd been I think 2 years at the mansion on Turtle Creek in Dallas. Okay. And I was like, Graham Elliott worked there.
Yeah, yeah.
And you always hear, and I was at the Ritz, one of the chefs there went and opened with Dean Faring, who'd left it. So I'd always heard about this restaurant.
Yeah. I mean, that's a dynasty.
It's just...
You hear about it to this day.
And I look up, he's like, Bruno needs an exec sous. You should hit this guy up. And I looked this guy up, and I'm like, he came here, and I think he cooked for like the French embassy or something, and then he was like opened DeCasas restaurant in Vegas and got a Michelin star, and I was like,
of course,
he's at the mansion, he's got a tasting menu. Like, that's my guy. And I hit him up, and he's like, I went out there and cooked for him, which was really nerve wracking. I mean, he was the best chef I'd ever cooked for him. And I got the job, and I remember the HR director was like, because it's still a hotel. Yeah. It's a smaller group, and it's a very quality-driven group. And I was like, fuck, I'm back in this isn't really, I was torn. But the mansion was always known as a restaurant before I worked there. So I go there, and I worked for Bruno, and that was the best 2 years it was my last number 2. You know, I took a chef job after that, and it was like the best. It was like, he's just such an amazing chef and such a good cook. And I'd never